Okay, in this question we are given the IV characteristic curve of a particular device here. Many students pick the wrong answer of trying to work with this point here. Obviously, these students think that the gradient of this curve has something to do with resistance. So they think that resistance is equal to dV di, but that's wrong, because resistance is just a simple ratio of V to I. dV di and V divided by I are two different things. Let's first think about the IV characteristic curve of an ohmic device, which you know should be a straight line passing through the origin. A large resistance would have the straight line that leans more towards the voltage axis, because when you lean more towards V, you have a large V and a small I, and that corresponds to a large resistance. A small resistance will have its IV characteristic curve lean more towards the current axis, because when you lean more towards the current axis, what you have is large I and small v, which corresponds to a small resistance. So this component is definitely not an ohmic device. So for such a device, we should be talking about lines that join each point to the origin. So for example, the resistance at this point and this point are different. The resistance at this point is larger. We know that because the line joining it to the origin leans more towards V compared to this one. So the ratio of V to I for this guy is larger than this guy. Alright, so at which point does this component has the least resistance? It ought to be this point here, because towards here is less resistance, towards here is larger resistance. We want the least resistance, so we want to lean as much to the current axis as possible, and that will correspond to this point here. Okay, so remember, it's just a simple ratio. Alright, ta-ta!